So good morning, guys. It's a very early morning here in Stockholm. I haven't even got my coffee yet, but that's fine. Today is collection day. It's time to get the replacement car for the Porsche 991 that I just sold. I already missed that car, but this one is basically gonna play a very big role in terms of my everyday driving, and it's something I've been looking forward a very long time to getting. And I think it's one of the best value cars you could get for a multi-purpose sort of driving. Well, I'm gonna head down to the train right now, and we have a couple of hours of traveling because we're heading down from Stockholm down to the very south of Sweden where the car is situated. So it's gonna be a fun ride. Let's go. So welcome to the new daily driver, the Porsche Macan GTS from 2017. I'm going to tell a little bit why I went with this model, and especially actually with this car in large. So as many of you know, I've been driving Porsches for a very long time. It's one of my favorite brands when it comes to quality and everyday drivability. So I had a 911, the 991.1 up until very recently. So I sold that car just a week ago, and in the same day that I sold that car, this one came out for sale from Porsche down in Helsingborg. And I just knew instantly that this was the car that I wanted to get. I've been looking for Macans for quite some while, and be looking at the petrol engines, in particular the S, the GTS, and the turbo. And a lot of people say that the GTS sits in between of the S and the turbo, but it's basically a pimped up S, and that's how most of the GTS versions go. It's never a detuned turbo in that sense, even though all of the Macans have turbocharged engines. The reason I went with this one is I needed something that was a bit more, I wouldn't say a bit more daily drivable, but something that would complement the garage in a better way. So the 718 Spider and the 991 became too close to each other, and I really wanted to keep the Spider, so it was time for the 911 to go from the garage. So I had to sell it. I love that car, and I will regret, and I almost already do regret selling it, but I just, it was time. I had the car for 4 years, drove it a bit over 40,000 kilometers, loved it every kilometer, laughed all the way. But this is going to be my new daily driver. It's going to take me to all the places that I really want to go. It can carry a lot of people, it can carry a lot of things. Also at this moment looking to get a house instead of an apartment, then this will come very handy indeed. But we'll do a more specific video on the specification of the GTS and this GTS as well. But I just want to tell you super short today about what the differences and why I wanted to go for a GTS and what the differences are from the S, and why it's why I think this is basically the car to go for if you're going for a Macan at this moment. The reason also why I wanted to go for a GTS and not a turbo or an S is the GTS, by some reason I don't really know, they tend to stay in its value, tend to hold its value very well. So I got a very good deal on this car, but usually they are a bit over, or at least around 55 to 60,000 euros. Even though this one has done 50,000 kilometers, I paid a bit over 50k for it, which I think is a very fair deal. I really wanted to go for a silver car if I could find one, because it would match the 718 Spider with the silver exterior with the black wheels and the two-tone, or not two-tone, but the two sort of material interior that this has. So this has the GTS package, as all the GTSs have. It's sort of leather with Alcantara inserts in the seats, just as the Spider came with, even though I have upgraded that to the Pepita interior or houndstooth, depending on how old school you are. But the GTS then, Gran Turismo Sport, gives you some extra parts. When it comes to the engine, you do get 360 horsepower. That's 20 more than you get in the S. That one gets 340. You also get a bump when it comes to the torque. It goes up to 369 pound-feet of torque if you are in a crazy country, and 500 Newton meters if you are measuring in a sort of understandable way. That's 30 pound-feet more than you will get in the S, and 40 Newton meters roughly that you will get in the S as well. So it's sitting in the middle of the S and the turbo, not sure. The turbo gets 400 or 440 horsepower if you are getting the performance package that came later. But in this generation, or in this basic spec of them, the S gets 340, the GTS 360, and you get 400 for the turbo. So I'm not really sure how that could sit in the middle, but I guess that's how they would like to quote it. What you also get on the GTS is you get these black wheels. These are the RS Spider wheels. They are 20-inch in diameter. I think they look very, very good. It suits the car, and I think it works very well with these black sort of exterior parts. One thing that you get on the GTS that you cannot spec if you're getting an S, that's the brakes. So this car gets the turbo brakes for the front, while it remains the brakes from the S in the rear. So the turbo brakes in the front also gets painted red, same in the rear, but means you get a little bit extra stopping power, and that is needed since this is a quite quick car, but it's also a very heavy car. It's almost 2 tons. What you also get with the GTS package, you get the upgraded headlights. You get the sport design package that also comes on the turbo. You can fit that to the S, I think, but I think it's quite a costful optional extra. And you also get the sport seats. If you like those, they really hug you. They're very snug in that sense, but I think they're great. You do get some leather in the interior. This one has the base sort of leather setup. It's an upgrade from the sort of the S and the diesel and all of those cars. You can of course option this, but it's not the full leather on the sort of on the doors. It's leather on the dash. It's real leather on the seats and steering wheel and all that stuff that you really see all the time and care about. What you also get on the GTS as standard is the Sport exhaust, so PSE, Porsche Sport exhaust system. It makes this engine really sound as sporty as I think this car should. So even if you get the sport exhaust for the S, you will not get the same sound as you get in this car. There is some changes to the exhaust, and especially to them, sort of how that is carried into the cabin of the car, which makes this car sound a little bit better. With the sport exhaust system, you also get these black chrome tips on the exhaust. It matches that sort of blacked out theme of the car that you also get around the windows. The engine, you might think that it's the same engine, and it is to some degree. It is the 3.0 liter V6 twin turbo engine that's found in the S, and it's the same in the GTS, but there are some changes. So that little bump of 20 horsepower and 40 newton meters, it does not only come from a tune, it is also some changes to the turbos, and we're gonna have to talk about that in the next video about what those changes actually are, because I'm not 100% sure. But giving a tune to this car, or if you're doing a tune to the S, you will be able to get different sort of results. A simple tune, nothing extra, you will be able to bring this up to 430 horsepower and a bit over 600 newton meters. So big improvements to be done with just a tune. Okay, so then why a used car from 2017? So there's a couple of things to take into consideration when talking about that year. And first and foremost, I didn't want to get like a completely new car, because that has a big drop in terms of the mileage I'm going to put on this one. 2017 was the first model year for the GTS. It also came in 2018, but in the middle of 2018, there was a new law that introduced that all of these cars had to have the gas particulate filter. That meant that these engines could not sound as good as they do anymore. It also brought with them that these cars needed to have the new tax regulations in Sweden. If you don't live here, as most of you people don't, most of you actually are from the United States, you don't have that tax in the same way as we do. But so from 2018, in the middle of the year and forward, the taxes for these ones were raised immensely. So it went almost 10 times the prices in tax for these ones for the first 3 years of its existence. So 2017 is the first, or the last, sort of the first of the GTS, and the last year that you could be sure that you did not get that extra tax on them. So cost, of course, being smart in that one, but also especially the sound. So I wanted to get something that felt sporty, looked sporty, and sounded sporty. That was super important for me, given that this replaces the 991. So that's where I went with the 2017. Could have gone with an early 18 as well, but this is what came out to the market. And that's where I think this car is also going to keep its value fairly well. Not like a 911, but maybe not as the newer cars will drop as well, hopefully. So the new daily driver, you're going to see a lot of it. We are going to do a lot of the projects for this car. We're going to change the intake system. We are going to do some modifications to the exhaust. We are also doing an engine modification, a tune to start with. We're also might be doing downpipes and some upgraded turbos. We'll see about that. As we do the tune, we'll find out what other parts we need to switch out to get it to run as smooth as we want it to. But some modifications are going to be done also to the interior. Some parts will be replaced with some Alcantara stuff, or race tech as they call it today. We're also upgrading the stereo, since this example did not have the Bose or the Burmaster. It's only the sort of standard stereo in this one. So there are a lot of modifications coming, and hopefully you will join me on those episodes as well. If you want to see them, please consider subscribing to the channel and give this video a like. Even though it's quite a selfish video, it's me mumbling about my new car, but I just wanted to introduce it to you so that you know what's coming in the channel. And yeah, if you want to subscribe, it helps the channel grow, helps me get more cars not buy more cars, but maybe lend more cars for the channel to review. So until I see you next time, take care and goodbye.